Hi, everybody. Welcome to How to Apply Using the Online Application. My name is Elise Tan, and I am from the Department of Technology, working hand in hand with EPC on our online applications. And thank you for being here and spending an hour of your Saturday afternoon with us. I would like to say before I start, if I am speaking too fast, please let me know, and I will definitely slow down. And if you have any questions, my style is I'm going to keep going over a few slides and then we'll be pausing every section for questions. Also, if there's a question you don't want to forget before I pause for questions, please pop them in the chat. And before we get started, I know there are a lot of us. I'm not going to ask everybody to unmute, but if you can just pop in the chat your first name, and if you are a new family applying into SFUSD, or if you already have an existing student. So again, just pop it in the chat, type it in the chat, your first name, and whether you're a brand new family enrolling into SFUSD, or if this is not your first time enrolling into SFUSD. Thank you so much. All right. I'm gonna keep going. I'm also going to pause here for a minute or two for you to click on this link right here on the upper right-hand corner, or if you have a camera on your phone, take a picture of the QR code and it should open up the sign-in form. So I'm gonna give 2 minutes here for families to sign in. This is so we know who to follow up with in case you have any questions we have not answered in this workshop together, or if we have any more resources to send out, please sign in so we can follow up. And I'll pause here for a minute before I move on.
Looking at the chat, I see a great mix of new and continuing families.
Thank you, everybody. Welcome. All right. About 30 more seconds. You can also fill out the later, but I would it in if you're on your computer, opening it in another tab or making sure that you sign in. Okay. I am going to move on. The main round application deadline, it opened yesterday online, and the deadline is on February 4th of next year, 2022. Lauren and I suggest that you get started as soon as you can, as soon as you're ready, and you already have a list of the schools that you have. And again, this hour together, we will go over basically how you can access that application, especially for the brand new families here and are doing this for the first time, as well for our existing SFUSD families, but may be applying for the first time using the online application. All right. So our mission here at SFUSD, especially with the online applications, is to provide each and every student the quality instruction and equitable support required to thrive in the 21st century. I know I said that from the slide, but really the application, our goal is to give you access to make sure that you're able to apply anytime, anywhere with technology. Thank you. Someone notified me that my audio is breaking up. So if there's any critical information or if I keep breaking up, please let me know and then I will be repeating information. Thank you. Okay. We've already started with welcome and introduction. I'm going to go next into how do you start the online application? How do you just get started and get into the online application? And then we'll spend a substantial amount of our time completing the online application, what that looks like, and what happens after the application, and of course, ample time as well for support and Q&A. I did put 5 minutes here, but we'll have Q&A session. All right. I know from this morning and this entire day, you've heard a lot about the enrollment process and SFUSD. I should pause here and make sure that you know who's in the room. So I'm actually gonna turn it over to you, Lauren, for an introduction. even though they
Great.
might have seen you already in other workshops, but go ahead.
Great. Hi, everybody. My name is Lauren Kohler. I am the Interim Executive Director at the Educational Placement Center. The Educational Placement Center is the enrollment office for San Francisco Unified School District. So any questions you have about enrollment, you are welcome to reach out to us. I'll put our contact information in the chat.
Thank you, Lauren. And then I also have in the room one of my colleagues from DOT, Sherman, and we both will be making sure that your questions get answered, if not in this workshop, that we follow up with you. So this is the enrollment process in SFUSD. And again, as I've been repeatedly saying, we're going to focus on how to apply online. All right. Before I show you the tool, I want to note that you can change the language of the application at any time. And what do I mean by the application? So this is where I'm going to start switching my screen so you can see. So once you get into the online application, and you can access that by going to sfusd.edu/online app, or for those of you online apps, or for those of you, sfusd.edu/online app. There you go. Thank you, Lauren. For those of you who have a Parent View account, you can also access the online applications there. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Right here on the lower right-hand corner into your preferred language. It looks the same for Parent View. And then if you are using your mobile phone and using the mobile application Parent View, I want to show you what that looks like in Parent View. I'm going into our website for Parent View to show you a screenshot of what it will look like on your phone. And I understand this is small, so I'm going to maximize it. So in the mobile app, it will look like this purple one. And you can click English on the bottom and change your language. I'm going to show you again how to change it in the web browser once you're in the online forms or in Parent View. Click here on the lower right-hand corner, the word English, and then select your preferred language. Okay. All right, I'm gonna go back into our presentation. Starting the online application. So a little earlier, I asked who here is a brand new family applying into SFUSD, and who among you here are already enrolled in SFUSD and may be enrolling another student for the first time this year. Because if this is your first time applying for an SFUSD school and you do not have any currently enrolled students, you've never had a student enroll in SFUSD in the past, you can create your own account. Okay, so for those of you who are already enrolled in SFUSD, hang in there. You can watch this for your information, but I will also get how you can get into the application. I go over how brand new families can get into the application. I'm going to be switching my screens, but if that is confusing or if I'm going too fast, again, just flag it in the chat. The next slide here will show you a video of how you can create an account. I will actually demo it to you by going into the online form and showing you what those steps look like. So again, sfusd.edu/online app. This is my first time applying. I'm gonna go ahead, scroll down and click create a new account. If you've had a student before in the past, just hang in there and I will show you what to do in a little bit. So if this is your first time applying, you see I click create new account. If you've ever had a student in the past, you need to be using your parent view account, or if you don't have a parent view account to your knowledge, you need to activate your account. And I'll talk more about that later. So please do not create a new account if you're not a new family. For my new families here, there are 2 questions here asking the same things. Do you currently have a student, or have you ever applied to SFUSD in the past? You should answer those no, click continue, read the privacy statement which just states that we keep your information in confidentiality and only use your information for enrollment purposes. Accept that, click I accept, enter your name, your last name, your email address. So that's another thing, you need an email address to complete the application. And then the characters that you see in this picture, we're just making sure robots cannot make a it will email you on the email that you entered here a link to create your username and password. Okay. And I think my internet connection is unstable, but I want to pause here to answer any questions. So I'll be reading two in the chat. I will be moving next month. Do I fill out my new address or the old one on parent view? So I think if you need to enter your current address now, and when you move next month, when that happens, please report that to EPC. And then the next one is from Michael. If your student used to attend SFUSD but no longer does, how do you reactivate an old account? I'll be going through that shortly. Okay, but this is how to create a new account in the online app. So I'm gonna go back into the deck and I will be pausing again for questions. And let me start sharing my screen again. All right. So you'll get an email from noreply@sfusd.edu. You should receive that email within a couple of seconds, if not minutes. If you don't receive it in an hour, definitely let us know. At the end of the deck, there should be email address, the family name email address of who you can contact if you need support. But once you click to this link, you can create your username and password. All right. So this is what the link will look like. Once you click there, you'll create your username and your password. Okay. What I want to show you here is that this screen will pop up. If you remember the two questions I showed earlier, if you answer yes to one of those questions, we're going to try to stop you there and tell you to create a parent view account or use your parent view account to complete the online application. So I'm going to show you what that looks like. I did go through some questions and I see them through the chat. Now that we've reviewed how new families can create accounts, what if I've applied to SFUSD in the past? I currently have an SFUSD student, but maybe adding a new student or enrolling for a new student this year or next year. Or like somebody asked earlier, I have previously had an SFUSD student, we left the district and are coming back. What do I do? You should use your parent view account to apply. If you do not have a parent view account, you can ask us for an activation code, and I'm going to show you what that means. Okay, so here's how you activate your parent view account. And let me pause here to talk about parent view. And I understand that my internet is glitchy today of all days. So I'm going to go into the sfusd.edu/parentview website. It would be helpful. This is a very useful link. This website talks about the ParentView app, not just in terms of enrollment, but everything you can do within ParentView, like see your report cards, see your students' attendance and grades. But for this session, we're gonna specifically focus on online applications. So a little bit about ParentView. It is a platform for all of our SFUSD parents and guardians and caregivers of our students who have educational rights. Each parent or guardian, regardless if they live in the same household or not, is entitled to their own ParentView account. And how do they get a ParentView account? So for those of you who do not have a ParentView account yet, you can get an activation code from your school if they haven't already given it to you. You can get it through Family Link, and that is by calling or emailing the Family Link line. And if Sherman, if you can pop in the number in the chat or the Family Link email in the chat. Or also, I know that the Educational Placement Center, Lauren's team, have mailed activation letters for our transitional grade levels. Okay. Once you have your activation key, and at this point, I'm gonna turn off my video. I apologize because I'm having glitchy internet and see if that helps. But want to make sure you can still see my screen. Once you have that activation code, go into portal.sfusd.edu, and you can also do this in the mobile app, like Lauren mentioned. But yes, web browser or through the desktop is slightly easier to use. So once I have my activation code, I'm clicking into ParentView. I'm gonna click activate, I'm going to click, activate account. Same privacy statement that I And then what's going to happen here is it's going to ask you for your first name, your last name, and your activation key. Usually, if your key came from your school, they will be giving you what your first and last name is. You need to enter your first and last name exactly as it appears on all of the SFUSD letters you receive. I want to emphasize that because sometimes, say for example, you registered with us, like myself, I have two first names, Elise Catherine. But if I registered with SFUSD as Elise Catherine, and I typically just use Elise and enter 10, and then whatever my activation key is, it's not gonna work unless I enter Elise Catherine. So again, make sure that you're entering your first name and last name exactly as it appears on all of the SFUSD letters that you receive. If you email Family Link or reach out to Family Link for your activation key, they will also be giving you how your first and last name appear on our system. Okay. Once you continue to step 3, same thing. It will email you the link to create a username and password. Okay. So that is how you activate your ParentView account. There's a video on the deck. I'm not going to play it because I just showed you those steps. And then I'm going to move on, and then we'll be pausing after the next slide for questions. Once you log into ParentView, so let's do a test here. I want to show you what that looks like. Once you log into ParentView, it will look something like this once my page loads. And as I wait, I'm going to see if there are any questions left unanswered. Okay. Miriam, do we create, okay, Lauren answered that. Do we create one login for the family? I know some of our families like to use one account, but then again, we suggest that each of you use your own separate account. So once you log into Parent View, it looks like this. Go ahead and click online forms on the upper right-hand corner, and that's gonna get you into our online forms portal, okay? And if you are applying for next year, I want to emphasize here again that there are a couple of forms available through our online forms portal. 2 of them pertain to enrollment. 1 of them is for next year, and 1 of them is for this year, okay? So I think most of you here are interested in applying for school year 2022-2023. So make sure that on the drop-down selection, you select the 2022-2023 application for next school year and click Start New Form. If, for example, and this is the last slide I'll go over before I pause again for questions. If, for example, you click another form, right, and you started it, click Start New Form, realize later on, oh, wait a second, this is not the form that I want to do. You'll see the form name on the upper left-hand corner. And once you realize, like, oh, I meant to apply for next year, you can always hit Restrict Form right here. Click Yes, and it will take you back to the choosing form so you can select the correct form. And for any questions that we haven't answered just yet. I do not see the online forms on the Parent View app. Okay. All right. So on the Parent View application, the mobile app, let me just go into our online app. And I'm going to pop that URL in the chat. So on this online applications guide, you'll see how to apply online. I'm just going to scroll down. We have some answers to frequently asked questions here. And one of them, actually, let me scroll up. I'm trying to find the screenshot of what it looks like. Here you go. So in the Parent View mobile app, it should look like this. Once you log in, you'll see a link to the online form. And if you don't see this particular one, Lay, please email us at familylink@sfusd and we'll troubleshoot with you. But once you log into your Parent View mobile app, it should look like this. You should have an online form link, okay? And at this time, before I move on, I want to pause here again. That's answered or any steps that again. You can either chat that question or request out of what you want to see again. Okay. Yes, so Jan, when you are updating your home address or your permanent address, EPC will require proof of address. All right. If there are no questions, I'm gonna keep going. We have about 20 more minutes left. Go ahead, Lauren.
I see one more in the chat. I had a Parent View account for my son. Oh, how do I add my daughter's information to the same account?
Great question. That's something that I did not mention. So if you have multiple students in the district, you should be able to see them from one account. If that is not the case, Shawan, please email us at sflink@sfusd and we will fix that for you. We'll get your daughter added to the same account. So again, if you're not seeing all of your students in one account, please email the family link line and we will fix your account.
Annalise, how do they add a new kiddo, like a kindergartner, to their, say, second grader's account?
Great question. If they're already enrolled in SFUSD and they're not seeing them, emailing Family Link is the answer. But if you already have a student and you want to add a new student, meaning to say you want to apply for a new student, I'll go over that in just a second. Okay. All right. I'm gonna keep going and then we'll continue with the questions. The parent view FAQ in this website here, but I want to demo how you can reset your password because we always get that question. So another thing about parent view is that you only have to activate your account once. So if you're going to parent view, right? Say for example, you left the district in 2017, but you've created an account then and are returning now. You can still use that username and password. If you have already forgotten what your username or what your password is, in parent view, you can click forgot password and you can enter here your email address and we will send you an email on how to reset your password. If you do not receive an email here, it is highly likely that we do not have your current email address in our system anymore. So again, if that is the case, reach out to us at Family Link and we will help you out. So if you forgot your username or your email address and this doesn't work for you, email us, but I would recommend going this route first because this will be much quicker. Okay. I'm gonna keep moving on and now we get into completing the online application. All right. And I see some people are asking me directly in the chat. I'll go over them later, but it will be helpful if you post your questions for everybody so that Lauren and Sherman can see them and Lauren can help answer enrollment questions as well. Thank you. All right. Completing the online application. I know this looks confusing because I'm switching screens. So completing the online application, again, here you click application for next school year, click start new form, and then it will take you to the actual application. What we've done here, if you've never seen this before, is we've taken questions from the paper application and put them online. And I want to note that here you have 5 sections before getting to the review and submit section. I'm not gonna go through the entire thing. There is a video on the deck and online as well on showing you a lot of the pages here. But I just want to show you something. Okay, so you see there after I completed the introduction section, it added a check mark on that section. Before, to make sure that you've submitted the application completely, make sure that all of the sections here have a check mark, okay? And I say that because last year, during our first year launch, a lot of our families thought that in the students page, once they are done there, they can close out of the application, but that is not the case. You have to submit the application fully up to the very last section for us to be able to receive your application. I'm going to show you one of the most important pages in the application, and I took a screenshot to save us time. So right here, once you get into the student section, this is where you will see all of your existing students listed. So in this example, I only have 1 student listed. If I want to apply for that student, I'm going to click fill out application. If an application is not needed for that student, meaning to say they're not in a transitional grade level and they're staying in their current school, I can click application not needed. And what will happen is their name will move to the bottom to the section students not applying to a new school next year. It will not impact their enrollment in SFUSD if you do not apply for them. So I want to repeat that. If you have a student listed here and they don't need a new school for next year, you can click application not needed and it's not going to impact their enrollment, okay? If you have a brand new student you already have an existing student in SFUSD or you are returning to SFUSD, you can click add new student to add your new kiddos and apply for them next year. All right. If you click the application not needed and the name of your student gets here to this section, but you did that by mistake, you can also click application needed back to put them back up. So I want to pause here for 1 minute in case there are any specific questions on how the buttons work on this page. And yeah. Okay. So I'm going to answer the question in the chat. On the form, it says to select 5 schools. I am confused if you just want to get a slot for sibling priority. Then you do not list schools. Okay. So we encourage you to select at least 5 schools to have a better chance at applying, at getting to your school choices. And that is the only reason for that. Unless, Lauren, you want to add more context to that for families to list at least 5 schools.
We do want families to list at least 5 schools. Can you talk a little bit about how they'll be able to see sibling priority? So how they indicate sibling priority in their application? And Elise, you're on mute. Elise, you're still on mute.
Yep. Okay. Yeah, let me see if I have that page up. Let me. I may not have that that screen up, but in the online application, sorry, I don't have a screenshot of that specific page, but in the online application, we have a specific section about siblings that will allow you to give us information about enrolling siblings into SFUSD. Listing down 5 schools really have nothing to do with that. It's more so for everybody to list down at least 5 schools. And if that is unclear, we can send out, if you fill out the sign-in form, you can list down that you're interested to see what the sibling questionnaire looks like, and we can follow up with you directly. Okay. If the parents need to move out from San Francisco for any reason during the school year, medical reason, what happens to your children? Do they have to move out from school? Lauren, do you want to answer that one? Thanks.
Yes, if you are not a resident of San Francisco, your children cannot attend school in San Francisco. So if, for example, you need to move to Oakland, you need to unenroll your kiddos from school in San Francisco and move them to a school in Oakland. If you have moved, you can ask us for an interdistrict transfer permit, and we might be able to keep your kiddos in school. But if you're not a resident of the city, they're not supposed to go to school here.
Thank you. All right. I will keep going. I see your question still about the sibling priority. We will reach out to you directly. I'm listing down your email address and we will follow up with you. Thank you. All right. We have about 11 minutes left, so I'm gonna keep going and I'll pause at the end for more questions. So here's what we have been talking about, the school selection page, and I wanna pause here. For the school selection page, you can list as many schools as you'd like. But again, we recommend at least 5. You can also select the pathway for your student. If there are any pathways here that are not appearing for you that you would need, please contact the Educational Placement Center. And your first school selection that appears beside number 1 is what we will take as your first choice. And again, you can list down your schools in the order of your choice. For those of you who have current SFUSD students, again, you do not need to apply for that if they're going to continue to the same school anyway next year. All right. If, for example, you're listing down schools here, and you realize that, that is not my first choice, you can go ahead and drag and drop them like the video is showing you. You can also click on the X right here if you made a mistake and you don't want to include that school anymore, or you can simply change the school name here. Okay. The next section after the student section, which I also want to highlight, is our document section. So once you're done with the student section, you see there's a check mark there. You'll get into the document section, and this is where you can upload requested documents from your family. You can upload pictures or you can upload PDFs here. If you do not have the documents ready just yet, you can check this box which says you're not able to upload them, and then click save and continue. Okay. So I'm not gonna play that entire video, but it's there for your reference. We also have a link to instructions inside the online application on how to upload documents. All right.
I'm just going to make a quick note about what kind of documents we will ask you to upload. There are 3 documents that you will upload if you are a new student. If your child is new to SFUSD, we will ask you for a proof of birth for your child, a proof of address for your child that is current, and your photo ID, the guardian. If you are a returning student, you're already in 5th grade and you're applying for 6th grade, we will only ask you for your photo ID.
Thank you, Lauren. Also type that in the chat. All right. So once you complete your application, what happens then after you apply? After the application, you will get immediately an email address saying that we received your application or we've accepted your application. If you do not receive an email from us within hours of your application, please make sure to check your spam folder. If that still doesn't work, you can email us and reach out to us. Until February 4, which is the deadline, we'll be accepting applications. And from December till March, EPC will be reviewing your applications ongoing. And then on the week of March 21st, right? So during this time, so from December to March, EPC will reach out to you if additional information is needed or additional documentation are necessary. And on the week of March 21 next year, you will be receiving an offer letter in your Parent View account or in the mail. Okay. This is an example of the emails that you will receive from us. So make sure also it will be helpful now if you double check that no reply at sfusd.edu is not blocked from your email address. And yes, I do see this question. Yes, the paper form is still an option. So we both have online and paper. While we do encourage the online form because it's much faster for some of our families, we also understand that not everybody has access to technology. And if that is something that you need help with, you can let us know by emailing the family link. All right. Okay. I'm gonna keep going over the last few slides and then I will pause for questions at the end. Okay. I lost my slide. While I put the slide back up, go ahead and continue with your questions and then we'll get them answered in our last 5 minutes together.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Elise.
So Winnie's question, if you already have submitted an online application and you need to make changes to your application, you can still submit a new one online. And EPC will take your most recent application. as the final application.
Yep. And Winnie, you can also call the EPC or email us. I'll put our info in the chat again if you would like to change the order of your schools, and somebody at the EPC can change them for you.
Okay. And here is my slide again. Want to make sure that this email address is Lauren just entered their phone number and their email address is here in the slide. Some of you may be asking, why are there two separate emails? So enroll in school at SFUSD is EPC's email address. They will help you out with enrollment questions, online applications, and for sure with everything else. But if it's something specific to Parent View, we encourage that you email you either reach out to your schools or for our brand new families to reach out to the Family Link line. How do I save my online application so I can complete it later? Yep, click save and continue throughout the application. And you can come back to your progress. Okay. Here are the top 3, I would say, resources as far as online applications is concerned. Some of the web pages that I've showed you throughout the workshop. sfusd.edu/OLA is a guide for families on how to complete the online application. /Parent View goes over Parent View online applications as well, but also all of the other information that you can find in Parent View. Yes, Cody, both parents have to have a Parent View account or can have a Parent View account. Either one of you, though, can use your Parent View account to apply online. Yes, it's not required, but each of you can have a Parent View account. Yep. And then the last is sfusd.edu/apply to go over all of the steps on how to apply to SFUSD. Additional workshops can be found in EPC's website to find office hours. And I believe that completes our workshop for today on how to apply online. I am going to stop screen sharing and pause here again for any final questions in our last few minutes together.
Hey folks,
Hi,
so go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I have a question that maybe not here. It's about how selection works. Is it lottery after sibling preference? And if there's a workshop that's later for that?
Yes, you can review the video from this morning. We talk a little bit about the lottery process and the different tiebreakers that there are. You can also look on our website, sfusd.edu/enroll. Sherman, if you could put that one in the chat, that would be great. There's a part on there that's called student assignment in the left-hand drop-down menu, and you can click on student assignment and read all of the details of how the lottery works and how all of the different preferences are assigned. Thanks, Elise.
Thank you.
Yep,
And one follow-up. Sorry, is Lowell going to be on lottery now permanently, or is that just for during COVID?
No, the board voted in February of this year to have Lowell be on lottery process permanently. So for the foreseeable future, we will only be doing a lottery and not an exam for Lowell.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Yep, I saw previously in the chat some folks wanting a link to paper. I see Elise added that there. Are there other questions?
If you guys can raise your hand, if you go to reactions, and there's a raise your hand button, that will help out in terms of so I can call on you for questions.
Is lottery meaning there is no sibling priority for Lowell? No, there will be sibling priority for Lowell. There will also be a lottery. The sibling priority is part of the lottery.
Do we have any other questions, either through raising your hand or through chat?
Fukushi Y, I would encourage you to call or email the EPC so that you can get more support with your question. You can also visit us in person at our office in Civic Center. The address is 555 Franklin, or in the Bayview at Leola Havard Elementary. Yes, sibling priority does go through the lottery. I see Mrs. Santana asked, where is the request for seats popularity on the website? It's if you go to sfusd.edu/enroll and you choose the one called student assignment, there's a left-hand drop-down menu called student assignment. You can see main round highlights is where all of that information is. It's also on the school finder, sfusd.edu/school finder. You can see how popular each school is. There's a percentage at the bottom. Is a priority given to people who live in the neighborhood as the school of choice? Yes, if you are in elementary school. Elementary school, if you are in the attendance area of that school, you have a priority in the lottery. For middle school, if you attend one of the elementary schools that is a feeder for that middle school, you also have a priority. Will this video be available for reference for those who came a little late? And where do we get the recording? Yes, the place where you found the Zoom link for this video, we will place the recording of the video next week. The attendance school is not what I want. What should I do? Still list it. We do recommend that you list it on your list, but you can put all of the other schools that you want on your list in before that school. You are not required to list your attendance area school. You can list whatever schools you would like. Can you repeat the phone and address? Sure, so our phone number is 415-241-6085. And our email address is enrollinschool. I see Elisa is going to type it for me. Thank you. enrollinschool@sfusd.edu. And 555 Franklin, yes, that's the Civic Center office. If you select your feeder school for middle school, are you guaranteed admission there? No, you are not guaranteed admission. That's why we recommend that you put at least 5 schools on your application. So you should always include your attendance area elementary school if it's one of your preferences, and your feeder middle school if that's one of your preferences, but you should list at least 4 other schools in addition to those. Great questions. Do we have any more?
Sorry, I have one more. I looked at the tiebreaker thing. What does that test score area mean? I understood everything else before it, but the test score area, I couldn't figure out like how to read more about it.
Yeah, the test score area, it's outlined pretty specifically in the enrollment guide if you click on that, but the test score area is for kids who live in neighborhoods of the city where there are low test scores. The neighborhoods that are eligible for that tiebreaker are the Mission and Bayview and parts of the Excelsior. How does the audition process, how does the audition process for SOTA work? Elise, would you mind grabbing the SOTA school webpage? There's information on the SOTA school webpage, and you can read about that. They have a supplemental audition. You need to do the work for that before December 17th. I see a question in the chat. You're saying that since my son does not live in one of, or does not attend one of the APG feeders, we do not get APG priority. That's correct. You only get location priority for a middle school if your child attends one of the feeder elementary schools. How does high school lottery and selection work? Great question. It's the same as the other schools. The tiebreakers are a little bit different for high school. You can look at them on the student assignment part of the EPC website. But it's the same type of lottery. So you put the schools that you want, you should list at least 5, and then we will assign you your tiebreaker. So if you have a sibling, if you live in the CTIP neighborhood, or for high school, if you attended Willie Brown Middle School, and then you'll have a different preference in the lottery based on those. And Elise, thank you for putting the Asawa School of the Arts link in the chat. You can look at that for the application process. All right. Cody says, my choice school is 27% seats. What does that mean exactly? If it's a feeder, does that change the percentage? If it's a feeder, yes, it likely changes the percentage. What this is saying is that 27% of the people who applied for that school were admitted to that school. So it's about a 1 in 4 chance of getting into that school. We encourage you to list more schools if you're listing schools with a lower percent chance of getting in. How do you know what the feeder schools are for your school? You can check that online.
We have a question from Myvin. Myvin, can you unmute yourself and you can ask your question? This will be actually one of the last 2 questions because we have another meeting at workshop at 3 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I put the wrong link. That's why I came the wrong link. Like, I have the question. Yeah, the first question is the Lowell High School. Right now they have the lottery, or they have to check the test or something like that.
Great question. Lowell is lottery only for this year and for the foreseeable future. So there is no exam associated with Lowell.
And then I have another question is what can you tell me what document I need to submit for the high school?
Great question. If your child is new to SFUSD, you will submit your photo ID, a proof of birth for your child, and a proof of address. If your child is already attending SFUSD, all you need to submit is your photo ID. This is it's on the website, so you can take a look.
All right, folks. Unfortunately, we do have another meeting at 3 o'clock. Thank you so much for attending today's workshop. We will have the recording of this session and also the slides next week on the website where you found the Zoom link. So thank you so much for attending, and I hope you can join us for our next workshop at 3 o'clock on our new student assignment policy. So thank you, Elise.
I'm just going to add one more thing. Again, thank you, everybody. When you submit your application, your email will contain a link to a survey. Please let us know if there is anything we can improve on the application ongoing. That will be very helpful for our. Thank you so much again. Thanks, Lauren. Wilson.
Thanks, team.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.